Hello again, and welcome back to all of you doers, movers, and shakers. My name is Edie, also known as the Community Lady, and I'm here sharing tips and things I wish I'd known during my 20 years in serving the community and also in managing and operating nonprofit organizations. So, we are debunking myths about grant writing and the grant management process. Myth number 2, we need to hire a grant writer before receiving grant funds. So I'm going to issue a disclaimer here. I am presuming that these talks will appeal to grassroots community and faith-based organizations who are new to the concept of receiving grant funds to support the community engagement, the community development, the social, academic, and personal development programs that you're doing. Okay, so with that out of the way, while you can certainly hire a grant writer, I'd like for you to please consider the following question. Are you ready? Okay, so the question is, why aren't you writing the grant? Or, can you write the grant? So I'd like for you to discuss that question with other volunteers, with any colleagues, any other members in the community or the church or your board. Just talk about that. Evaluate the strengths that are within your circle to determine whether or not you can first write the grant. See, I'm convinced that you actually can write the grant. Why? Well, if you've ever completed a FAFSA, the financial aid form, if you've completed a job application, if you have submitted written a research paper, or even submitted the Form 1023 form, you can do this. I'm sure you can. So consider this. No one knows your program like you do. No one knows the population that you serve like you do. No one knows why you decided to serve them like you do. And no one understands the story behind what led you to move so far as to develop a program and then pursue grant funding. Only you know that. No one even understands what motivates you to do what you do, or why you may even use your own money to do what you do and to help those that you want to help. It's really something. Those of us who've worked in the community for a long time, we understand that you do all of these things. You utilize out-of-pocket funds. You use your hookups just to sustain all of the great work that you do. So all I'm asking while we're debunking this myth that you need a grant writer is that you attempt to complete an entire grant application on your own. Don't leave any questions blank. Reflect upon each question, because in the long run, it will strengthen your program, and it also broadens your skills because it challenges you to actually sit and think about, what program goals do I want to put in place? It's one thing for us to say, I want to help this population, but it's another thing to really sit and think about, okay, what do I want them to do? Or how will I measure what they do, how they behave? Will I measure the skill to determine that the program I've designed actually works? And again, take your best shot at it. Good, bad, or indifferent. Just answer every question that you can answer. It also challenges you to project what your desirable outcomes will be and what success looks like to you. How do you describe success? You've described a condition where something was lacking. What does it look like now that they've gone through your program or they received your service? What does it look like now? That's something else. A grant writer cannot effectively do that for you within a vacuum. So your answers will just really, in the long run, help your program and also benefit those who you wanted to serve in the first place. I'm going to stop here because I feel myself trying to go down a rabbit hole. Today's talk solely focuses on the myth of needing a grant writer to assist with an organization's first couple of grants. And various factors contribute to hiring the grant writer. That's totally understandable. And by no means am I advocating that you do not ever hire a grant writer. Otherwise, I'd be putting myself out of business. So yes, I am available for grant writing services after you've completed my little handy dandy, made with love, grant ready checklist. I'll include a link below so that you can download it for yourself. I will also follow up to this video. I'll do a Tech Assist talk on hiring a grant writer. And in that talk, I'll cover other detailed questions that I don't want to cover right now. The questions I'll cover include, does hiring a grant writer guarantee you'll get the grant? Do we still have to pay the grant writer if we don't get the grant? I want to be able to help you manage expectations of the grant writer and understand the roles of both you as an organization and the grant writer. Who does what? Okay? All right, cool. So today's challenge. Today's challenge is to complete my handy dandy, is your organization or church or nonprofit grant ready? This checklist is just so phenomenal. Again, it's everything I wish I'd known. It will help you to prepare for any grant, whether you are hiring a grant writer or you're preparing to write yourself. It just covers all areas. It's a quick 3 pages. Again, it's a checklist. And in these columns to the right, which I know is hard to see, but when you download it, you'll see it for yourself. You're either going to say that, yes, we've documented these, we have these documents on hand, or the documentation is in progress, or we need assistance in preparing the documents. What I'd like for you to take away from this and understand that if you need assistance in preparing the documents, then your grant writer will be, in essence, preparing your organizational documents in addition to writing the grant. And you have to understand that those are 2 completely separate services. But again, I think you'll get more out of it if you do it yourself. But if you can't, you don't have time, you don't want to, or whatever, then yeah, just sit with them. Sit with the grant writer and you guys will get it done and you'll get back to serving communities, do what you do best. Let me cover a couple of things. I'm being hesitant on covering this because it's all of these categories, but let's pick out one, for instance. History and background. So what it says here is organization has documented its history, vision and or mission, number of years in service, achievements and challenges through case statements, annual reports, past grant application or other. And you would cite what documents you have on hand. And you'll never imagine how much insight these documents gives to a grant writer as well as to a funder, and understanding where you've come from, what experience you have, who you've served before, what went well, how did you learn from those experiences, and then where you're going, and then how the funder can support where you are going. That's really the goal. But you want to be as transparent as possible, because then the grant writer can reference, hey, we've done this before, here are the past successes we have, and our past success is a promise of future success, which is cool. Also staffing, to include the bios or resumes for management or any key roles or any for any volunteer needs. Because again, you never know how a grant writer can intertwine the skill sets that were gained in a past job as another promise of success as to why this key personnel can do the job. Okay? Great. So I'm going to put this down. Again, I will include the link at the bottom. Please check below. Don't forget to subscribe. And I think that is it for today. I'm trying hard not to ever go over 10 minutes. Guys, so I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you liked it. I hope you learned something new. If you have any questions or topics for suggestions, leave them below. Don't forget to hit subscribe. And until next time, keep doing, keep moving, and keep shaking things up in your communities. Peace.
Working in community, no place I'd rather be. Working in community, lifting, loving, setting free. Don't know where